Sunday night.
We're just beginning the year.
Well, look, I thanks everybody for being here. I've been, as indicated, I've been looking for a good announcement ever since Sunday night, and we definitely found one. But I want to thank the Board of Supervisors. I know you're proud of your colleague for all of her accomplishments. Also with our other official city family, Dennis Herrera's here. Phil Ting, of course, took a time away from Sacramento to be down here. Thank you, Phil, for being here. I know we have a representative from Betty Yee's office, Board of Equalization, that has oversight on Assessor's Office across the state. Jose Cisneros, thank you, Treasurer. I know you sent David Augustine here, who's a fine representative. Ben Rosenfield, our Controller, is also here. Naomi Kelly, our City Administrator. Kate Howard, our Budget Director, of course. And then Harvey, thank you for being here as well. And just all the members of the board that are here today. And I think Nadia is trying to get down here as soon as she finishes the final ratings on other companies. But first of all, it really is a necessity to have someone at the helm of the assessor's office. And I personally want to thank Zune Nguyen, who's been in that transition for us. She's a real delight to have worked with in this time period, and she's held the office together, and I want to thank her personally for being here today. Had such a great job. Thank you. You know, it comes as no surprise, probably for all of you, that I've chosen Carmen, and Carmen has been willing to step up to be the assessor. But if you look at what she's done and has been at the helm of our budget committee and working with my office and all the financial entities, and of course, truly representing the board at the budget office the last couple of years, we've done a tremendous amount of good work together. And she's made that connection that I have often spoke about, and working with the board together on the budgets and making sure we cover all the interests and needs, but also being very fiscally smart and brilliant in her efforts to help me do the first 2-year budgeting for the city, which is incredibly important. And I'll say later on why it means so much to rating agencies and others that we do even better fiscally. But at the same time, we had, in my first year, a $385 million deficit. We were able to cover that through her leadership at the board and, of course, all the board's cooperation. She also did it similar to the ways that I've been wanting to do it with the board, that is, you work with everybody. Labor, our advocates, our nonprofits, have all been recognized in the strong effort, while we as people who are fiscally responsible for the health of our city balanced everything. And that is why I think we talk a lot about our success today. And I want to point to the fact that I think one of the reasons why Moody's perhaps made their move to upgrade our ratings was because they heard the rumor mill already about who we're about to appoint, and they wanted to reinforce that. But it's an incredible thing. I mean, I think other cities are challenged by their ratings, and we in the city working together, all of us sacrificing what we've done and having good discussions, are turning it around not only for us but for future generations. And so I am pleased to announce Carmen as the new assessor. And that she will lead the effort there to do what Phil Ting did and so many others before them, is help us generate and get the revenues that we need, do it in an efficient, in an expert professional way, and then enhance the staff's hope and belief that we've got not only a good manager at the helm, but a good partner with the rest of the fiscal leads that we have in the city that are doing all the right thing and conversing in the right tone. This is so important these days, to register a whole city family of professionals to talk with not only rating agencies, but with our counterparts in the federal government and the state government who sometimes are challenged themselves about what they should be doing so that we don't get hurt by them. And I know Carmen is going to be a great leader and a great partner. She's demonstrated that for quite some time as being a very effective supervisor for District 4, and as well as heading up the budget committee. So with that, I know she's going to get it all done, and let me just take this opportunity right now to introduce Carmen Chu, our new assessor, and then we'll talk about the process in a minute.
First off, I want to thank you all here for being here. For me, I've been an elected official for a little bit of time, but it never ceases to amaze me how nervous you all get when you've got all these cameras and people watching you. But I do want to thank you all for being here. I want to really thank all of my colleagues on the board who've taken the time under such short notice to be here with me today. Of course, for all the electeds who are here citywide, Dennis, Phil, of course, for being here and taking time out of Sacramento to be here, our city administrator for being here, Kate Howard with the Mayor's Budget Office, Zune, of course, for doing such a wonderful job and stepping in and being here too. I want to thank you all. And Harvey, now I have to turn roles and be a little bit afraid of you. But I do want to thank everybody for being here and being so supportive. It really humbles me that you are here, that you've taken the time to be here to have the confidence to support me in this new adventure. To the mayor, I want to thank you. It's been really my honor, it's been my privilege to serve the people of District 4, to serve San Francisco residents, and I take a look at this new opportunity and this new responsibility and really feel honored and privileged to be able to lead this new department as well. To all the finance folks who are here, my heartbeat, of course, to the controller's office, to the mayor's budget office, to Harvey Rose, to all the folks who are, and the treasurer who I know couldn't be here today, but is sending his greetings from DC. I really look forward to working with you. I think that we are only stronger working together, and that the financial health of the city, being able to build a solid foundation, the unique roles that each of us plays in making sure that happens is really something that we can all work towards. All the things that we care about, being able to fund public services, being able to fund police services, children's services, health services, these are all things that can only be accomplished when we have a very firm financial footing. And so I really look forward to that real responsibility and making sure that we're doing this together. I think with the solid foundation that Assemblyman Phil Ting has set, and of course the fine work that Zune has done in terms of stepping in and providing leadership in the organization during the transition, I take the responsibility with a lot of humbleness. I really look forward to working in the department, to getting myself right into it, to taking a look at the nuts and bolts of that organization. Of course, to ensure to folks that our assessments are fair, that we have transparent processes within the assessor's office, to make sure that our office continues to operate in the highest ethical manner. That is something that I think we all expect of all our offices and all of our operations. And of course, I vow to work tirelessly to continue to make improvements. Every step that we take to improve our process for the residents is really a public service. And so I just want to keep my comments short. I want to thank you all so much for your support. I look forward to this new challenge and take on the responsibility with a lot of humility, humbleness, and with a lot of respect for everything that people have done here. So thank you again. I almost did this twice. I almost forgot to thank Scott, my husband. When I was first sworn in the first time around, I forgot to mention and thank him. But I want to thank Scott. He's been a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful partner, the strength behind everything. So I just want to thank him. And of course, to my staff, thank you so much for everything.
All right. Okay, so of course, we wanted this announcement to stand on its own, but clearly Carmen has been a great supervisor for the city, and now that we've made this announcement, I next have to make a decision on her replacement for District 4, and we're prepared to do that through a process that will include stakeholders, getting certainly Carmen's input, community input, and we're setting our target for at least by no later than March 4th. So it'll be about 30 days from now, and that'll give time for the various staffs to adjust. And Carmen would like to immediately take helm of the agency and start, because these are really good times for the fiscal responsibility of that office to take heed. But we do want to do as thorough of a job to find her replacement, and that's why we want to just suggest that let's celebrate today, and we'll give ourselves 30 days to do the right process and meet with as many people as we can and get a good representative for District 4. And honor what all of these supervisors do every single day, and that is serve their constituents well and work with the city and do everything from compromising to advocating to representing the whole city well, as we've all done together. So with that, we'll take a few questions. Not too political, please. And we'll start with, we were just 5 yards away, okay? Anyway. Yes.
Sort of the conventional wisdom is that you were interested in this job because you were turned out. Can you just talk about, other than that factor, what is it about the assessor's job that you find appealing? I mean, most people kind of think of the assessor office as being kind of pretty dry and dull.
I think Phil and Zune might disagree with that. And of course, the fine people in the assessor's office would disagree with that. I think from the very beginning, even in my role before I came on the Board of Supervisors, we worked in the mayor's budget office and really worked on the nuts and bolts with regards to the budget and really focusing on sort of the long-term and the financial component of the city. For me, all the things that we want to accomplish, whether it is trying to make our neighborhood safer, whether it is trying to provide those after-school services for kids, whether it's the health department and the emergency services that we have for the city, all of that really takes having a firm financial footing. If we continue to move down the cycle of having lots of cuts in the budget and not being able to have sort of a solid foundation to move forward with, it makes the provision of services and what people rely on so much harder. And so for me, I've always been interested in that. That's why with David Chu's support and my colleagues' support, I've been at the Board of Supervisors Budget Committee 4 out of the 5 years I was there, 2 years as a budget chair, simply because I think some of those fundamental, maybe boring topics really need to be focused on. And so for the assessor's office, I don't think at all that it is boring. I think that it's necessary to make sure that we focus on it and do it well and do it fairly. Again, it brings in about $800 million worth of revenues for the city, and that is not a small amount. And so we want to make sure that we continue to be strong in that department, that we continue to do what we can to make sure we support the city's operations. So I think it's a fundamental piece of our city's operation.
Let me add, too, I don't know if any of you, I certainly think Harvey Rose knows and others, if you've been in a room, and this is why I made the link to Moody's. I was in that room with Kate and with all the fiscal people in the city controller's office when we're getting reviewed by Moody's and Standard & Poor's, some of the other rating, and they just throw questions at you. I mean, it literally is much more than an interview. It is kind of like a deposition. What do you have set up? What are you doing about this? What are you trying to, and all of it is about economic and financial confidence in the city. And they're asking all these questions from the debt to general fund to reserves to how much you keep, what you're going to spend, what the state going to do to you, what the Fed's going to do to you. I think after gone through that for the last couple of years, we need someone like Carmen heading up an office that might in the external be quiet and unassuming, but they are an incredible part of the confidence building that we need to have in the city. And you have to actually be in those depositions with these rating companies in order to understand how important that is. Because if they don't see our internal team taking care of business and demonstrating that on a every quarterly basis, on a every year basis, now it's pouring through everything that we do on an annual basis and every 2 years, the ratings are going to be low because of all the other things that are happening in and around us. And so we taking care of business. That's why I think we're viewed very differently than all the other cities, I think, in the state of California. Yes, Dave?
Mr. Mayor, in addition to the feedback you expect to get from constituents about who will step into Phil Carmen's place, can you talk about the qualities you look for new District 4 supervisors? And do you have any candidates in mind already?
Qualities is standing right next to me. So in terms of public service, follow through. I mean, Carmen has demonstrated very thoroughly in that district what it takes to be an effective supervisor. And the things that I have seen her do, I mean, she's hauled me out to merchant walks, to coffees on weekends, to garbage pickups, to work along Sunset Boulevard, picking up dead trees and fallen trees, and then talking with people down at the Java coffee shop on Noriega and finding out what's wrong with Muni and how come they have these turnarounds, which they hate out there. I mean, you just get into every single nitty-gritty thing that I think probably every supervisor does. And I've done that with the other supervisors as well. And you have to just bring that back in, absorb it, make sure we're responding, and make sure all the other department heads that I get the privilege of working on are responding every single day to those issues and making people's lives feel that they're improving and see the improvements. So I think that's what it takes, and you got to have the trust in it so that people are saying, this is a person I want to invest in. That's what I'm looking at. Again, I'm not going to go, but for the comments I made earlier, there are people interested in this position, and I'll do the appropriate interviews and take a look at them. At the same time, they have to be looking at the standards that have already been created. It seems there's been a high standard created out there for District 4.
Mayor, with this March 4th target that you set for a replacement for Supervisor in District 4, are you concerned that there's going to be key votes in the Board of Supervisors where D4 residents aren't going to have representation?
Are there key votes that you all want to tell me about?
I'll tell you later.
Tell me later.
I may want to answer.
Yeah, please.
Well, I want to thank you for that question. I think just as much as it's important for me during this period to transition and speak with folks at the assessor's office and really hit the ground running, I've never stopped working for District 4, and I think David can speak to this, and my colleagues can speak to this. They ask, why are you still introducing items at the Board of Supervisors? Aren't you done yet? When are you gone? And, you know, for me, I'm going to work until the very last minute that I'm the District 4 supervisor to make sure that I serve the residents there. When I came into the office, it was my commitment to make sure that I serve District 4 well. And that's why every piece of knowing what's happening with the merchant corridors, knowing what's happening with Muni, understanding all the different aspects of and problems that people may face in the district has been my priority. And so I don't intend to stop doing that until the very last minute.
What are you most proud of? Well, what accomplishment are you most proud of that you accomplished during your time as a D4 supervisor?
Thank you. I think there's a lot to point to. I think in my district, we've really focused on the infrastructure and investments within our community. So taking a look at what has happened with our playgrounds, our libraries, these are all things that I'm incredibly happy to say that we've made wonderful improvement on, and people actually see physical differences. But I think within City Hall, the area that I'm always, there's sort of the love of my work is really around the budget and fiscal responsibility. And so I think just being honored to be able to serve on the board's Budget and Finance Committee, really helping that process go through. And recently, the last 2 years as chair, really helping that process to move forward smoothly, making sure that we are putting the right attention that we need to into a 5-year planning process, making sure that we have our first 2-year budget go off without a hitch, are things that I feel incredibly proud of. And those are all things that I couldn't have done alone. Again, all of my colleagues who are here and were with me before for those years, and of course to my staff, they really helped to make that all happen as a city. So I think that really bodes well, not only with the leadership of our existing board and the boards that have come before, but it really shows that there is really this unifying understanding of how important it is to have that solid foundation.
Thank you everyone for coming.
Thank you.
Thank you.
That's it.
Thank you.